continuing with our top 10 tips for choosing lighting control, heating control, and audio-visual systems for your new home or a renovation project. We're going to be discussing energy efficiency. So if that's something you're interested in, keep watching. Today, as our second tip of the top 10, we're going to be talking about energy efficiency and how both a lighting control system and a smart heating control system both help improve your home's energy efficiency. If we start with lighting, so somebody like Lutron, Dynalight or Rayco, they all offer sort of clever pieces of kit. So the one I'm going to talk about, so Lutron offer a ambient light sensor. And what this does is that it measures the amount of light in a room. So as the sun sort of does its natural thing over the course of a day, you obviously get different amounts of light entering a room through windows and roof lights, if that's something you've got in your home office. This ambient light sensor then adjusts the amount of light coming from the light fittings so that you get a consistent amount of light throughout the day. This is obviously quite a clever piece of kit in terms of in the morning when the natural light will be slightly darker, the light fittings will be brighter. And then as you get sort of middle of the day when the sun's at its strongest and brightest, the light fittings themselves can dim, saving you a bit of money during the middle of the day. And then obviously as the lights and as the sun begins to set, then the light fittings will obviously have to brighten up once again. So that's just one of the clever features. Another sort of clever feature is if you take an example of a kitchen. So instead of having to have all the lights on and all the lighting circuits powered, so such as low levels, pendant over the island, perimeter lighting, and also under cupboards. If you are doing, let's just say, food prep, you probably only need the under cupboard lighting, so right above your food prep, to be brightest, and everything else can be dim. So although you can still see what you're doing and the kitchen's still well lit, you only really need the bright light where you're working. So instead of having everything at 100%, you could have under cupboards at 100% and then have the rest of everything else maybe at 30% or 50%. Obviously depending on what you like and what really works for you, but that's just another example of how having a lighting control system just gives you that sort of fine tune and the chance just to make everything just that bit more energy efficient. Especially at the moment, energy costs are always, can't seem to be anyways, constantly on the rise. Cost of living is constantly on the rise, so anything we can do to try and help make people's homes just that bit more efficient, a little bit cheaper to run, that would be ideal. And then going on to smart heating, obviously you don't want your house heating whilst you're not there, so things like Heat Miser, which we've touched on before, that's very clever in terms of it learns how your routine and how you want the house to be warm for you, so that let's say you want the floor in your bedroom at 18 degrees, 6 o'clock. So as you get out of bed, you get to step onto a nice warm floor. On a side note, underfloor heating is more energy efficient than radiators because you don't have to heat the water as hot to have a warming effect. Bit of a side note there. Pardon me. However, so with that, it'll heat up just in time to make sure that your floor is warm for your 6 o'clock deadline. And then it will keep warming it as long as you've set it to. And then after that, it'll basically tail off throughout the day, ready to warm back up in the evening. So what it's doing is that it's obviously not just keeping your house at a set temperature for no reason, especially if you are, as most people are, returning to the office. So actually you don't need your house at 18, your bedroom floor, for example. You don't need that at 18 degrees all day. You only really want it morning and night. And so that way you can just make sure that the system works for you, and it's only warm when you want it to be warm. Another thing that is good is something like if you do go on holiday or leave your house for any sort of period of time and you forget to maybe turn down your thermostat or adjust your heating, with a smart heating control system you can do that remotely. So it's always handy, and as I said on the previous video, it's always handy on the other way as well. So as you're leaving your holiday trip and you're coming back home, you can just give it a quick boost to make sure you walk into a nice warm house. Couple of easy wins there. I will just touch on it. Obviously the easiest win is just to replace all halogen light bulbs for LED versions, but I'm pretty sure that's common knowledge these days, so everybody I speak to anyways has done that, and if you haven't, it's definitely worth the investment, just because the energy costs between running a halogen light bulb versus an LED are phenomenal. So if you haven't done that already, stop watching this and go and do that, and then come back for the next video, where we will be looking at another top 10 tip for choosing lighting control, heating control and audiovisual for either a new build home or a renovation. See you on the next video. Bye bye.